Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again. It's about 5 o'clock. I couldn't really sleep, so I had to get up and deal with what was on my mind. I'd been listening to some news, and they had Donald Trump and Miss Clinton campaigning and feeding the public this rhetoric that they're passing along. And it began to get a little bit heavy on my stomach. And so I decided I'd better get up and make a statement about what I am perceiving as going on right now. Well, what I want to talk to you, ladies and gentlemen, that might give you some information is this. I have learned that there are two gods. Two gods. One is a God of justice, the other is a God of injustice. Now, when you speak of a God of justice, you're talking about a God that is fair. And when we are referring to God, we're talking about one that is responsible for existence, a certain amount of existence. But for this particular discussion, I'm talking about all existence, all that is. Then that God is fair. That God has made a world, an earth that is qualified to be sufficient to meet the needs of all creation. Fair. A God that made people and made it possible that those things that are common amongst them for survival, every last one of them can have those needs met. A God of fairness, a God of justice, a God that was so full with justice that he decided to give man choice to do or not do so that man could live at the result of his own actions and not blaming God or devil but themselves. You choose, you walk away, and you have a result of the action that you chose. It would either be a positive or a negative, for it has been said that you shall reap what you sow, that the seed planted will bring back the fruit of the seed. And so this kind of gives us a picture of what this justice is. This justice God, you have people who want to associate themselves with this justice God. They want to claim that they are the original people. Some say they were white, some say they were black, some say they were men, some say they were women, but they were original. And when they use this term original, it is to suggest that there's something special about them that is not special about anybody else. That usually comes from thinking about this God of injustice, because the God of justice made perhaps the first man or woman, and that person had no more responsibilities than the last one. It's like a family who have 21 kids. You have your first kid, and then 20 years later, you might have that last kid. But you love that last kid just as much as you love that first kid. The only difference is the first kid got introduced to it a lot sooner than that last kid. And in the end, that first kid started dissipating, passing away, and that last kid still growing up, coming along. So there's justice all in that. It doesn't matter whether God made a black person first. Many black men claim that we are the original people. So what? White people claim that they were the original people. So what? So what? But here is a distinction I would like to make, in that when we refer to the Bible, we talk about Adam and Eve, and we talk about them having children. Now, their children were not born in the Garden of Eden. Their children were not born in paradise. Their children were born after this other God, this God of injustice, who decided that though this God was made, it had this desire to be superior to the true God, to his maker. He had the idea to be superior to the parent, smarter than the parent. We have this today in our world where people think that the older folks get, the dumber and stupider that they get, and the younger they are, the smarter they are. So the kid usually become along thinking that he's much smarter than the parent, and the parent is just old clothes that needs to be thrown away. Well, this spiritual power, as it were, was supposedly in heaven, but not satisfied because he wasn't God. So he started trying to tell everybody else that he would make a better God. In other words, separating, dividing them, as we know we do as people today. Well, see, this is what happened when you have step out of that realm of justice and step into that realm of injustice. See, when you start dividing people up, taking away rights, giving other rights, this isn't fair, and this is on the leg of the injustice or the unjust. But what happened is that attitude was cast out, and it was cast to here. The same thing that they say the angel Lucifer, or whatever you want to call him, was doing in heaven, it started right here. It's the whole premise is that somebody is better than somebody else. That because of this, somebody is deserving, more deserving of somebody else. In other words, one is supposed to be the servant of the other. That's what happened here. And the evidence of it is Cain and Abel. Two children born here with this philosophy of somebody's better than the other, cause one to kill the other. And this is handed down throughout the biblical process. But it is about what happens in this world. We're talking about right now where people have been talking about justice and fairness in God for so long till they have really forgotten the true God. You got people in the church now who talk about God walking down the same tracks that Satan built. You got people in other parts of the world who are talking about kill, 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 kill. God wants you to kill, 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 kill. Can you believe that? A God of creation who can send tsunamis if he wanted to, who could cause heart attacks if he wanted to, who could just take away the breath if he wanted to, who could just do anything he wanted to. But you got a man out here saying God wants you to kill, to kill, to kill, to kill. Now, for anyone who's following a God of justice, that's Satan speaking. That's the anti-God speaking. Kill, 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 kill. And on the other hand, the God of love and justice is saying live, 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 live. And if anybody has to die, let it be you. Now somebody says, oh, no, no, not me. Well, the reason that you say, oh, no, not you, is because you are not familiar with the truth. You do not understand that if God out of nothing created you, that the God out of nothing can protect you. And if you are put in an arena where it seems as if you are going to be destroyed, either in the lion's den or in a fiery furnace, the only escape you can possibly have out of that is if that God that you believed in is real. And if that God is real, then that God can take you out of that fiery furnace. If that God is real, that God can take you out of that lion's den. If that God is real, that God can hold back that bullet coming out of that chamber that somebody just pulled the trigger to wipe you out. If that God is real, that God can take you and protect you in a car accident or a plane that's falling out of the sky or a train that's ramming into someone else. That God can do that. That's what the real God can do. Save you. And so rather than kill, according to the unjust, the unjust, you reap the reward by doing what is fair. And when they kill you, that same God that created you keep your life alive. But it takes you out of the hell that you were in because you're not deserving to be there anymore. We are all deserving to be in this hell that we're in. We are all deserving to have in the United States candidates like Miss Clinton and Donald Trump running for presidency. Because that's the kind of people we are. We look at Miss Clinton and say she's no good. We look at Donald Trump and say he's no good. But what you really should be doing is looking in the mirror and saying that you, that I, that we are no good. And this is why we have Miss Clinton and Donald Trump. This is why we have a unjust God running this world. This is why we have war, crime, and violence. Because we are walking down the path of an unjust God, a God that says white people are better than blacks, a God that says that black people are better than white, A God that says men are more precious than women. A God that says women are more precious than men. See, that's crazy. They are all precious according to the God of justice. They all got their purpose, and no one's purpose is more important than another according to the God of justice. Now, when we look at the world of tomorrow, when the Clinton or the Trumps get into office, they are going to be excited because they're going to feel like their God blessed them, and their God truly would have blessed them. And if you're a Trump person, you're going to be excited. You won't be that excited if you're Clinton. But if Clinton wins, you're going to be excited. And what about the nation? The nation is going to be divided. The nation is going to be at a cancerous position, not going any place. So when I look at this, when I look at 36 years of sitting before you, telling you that those things that you get on your knees and pray for every day are already set for you. All you got to do is change your mind and change your conduct. And the God of justice is right there to make sure that that seed will bring back the fruit of that seed. That what you put out will come back to bless you. But nobody hears that. Nobody hears that. All the God-loving people will do anything to stay alive. But I want to say this, and I guess I'll wrap it up. People die for all kind of reasons. They die because they were given an order to go and kill somebody else, and they get killed in the process. They die for any kind of reason. But there were some men who died because they cared about others. Men like Gandhi, men like Jesus, men like Martin Luther King, men like Malcolm. These men were men who were led by the Spirit of truth. They were led by the Spirit of God. And that's why they were killed by the enemy of God, which is an indication for everybody who wants to be a servant of God, who would profess to be a servant of God, to claim to represent God, would be standing up trying to be the next one that's killed by these enemies of God. So I guess that's what I'm doing. I don't want to live in this life and think that I was some big shot because I was able to drive a nice car that I couldn't pay for, or that I was able to live in a house that I could never own, or that I could date and smoke and do all the kinds of things that takes away the desire to do righteous towards others. I don't want that. I want to, in this society, die by the hands of evil for doing good, for caring about black people, for caring about white people, for caring about old folks, for caring about young people, for caring about Mexicans, for caring about Africans, for caring about Cubans, for caring about people all over the globe who stood up. Maybe didn't get their audiences before them like the Clintons and the Trumps, but he put on YouTube and Facebook saying to the world that God loves all of you. And your peace and your prosperity and your joy in life comes from God, not from the devil. Because the devil is lying to you. And the practice of the devil is to benefit the devil, not you. The practice of the devil is to benefit the devil, not you. That's why the devil uses money to trick you while he hides behind money. This is why Donald Trump walks before you talking about he's a good guy, he can be your president, which deep down inside he's thinking about one thing, and that's Donald Trump. So is Miss Clinton thinking about the Clintons. That's all they're thinking about, and we are being used as tools to benefit that. And God watching us and saying, you have choice. You have choice. So I've decided that I've lived long enough. And every corner I find myself in, I find the devil sitting there saying, if you want to walk this way, you got to obey. And I just refuse to do that. So I'm saying, right now I got a real small case with the state, with the government. It has to do with traffic. Somebody say I was speeding. And they want to give me a ticket for speeding and taking money out of my pocket that they have never been able to put in there. And don't give a darn if nothing gets in there. That's why you got people on the corner with street signs saying, feed me. And yet these folks who are passing out these tickets think that they are just, think that they are fair, and they are fair in God, in a world where God is denied, in a world where the devil runs. They are right. But I'm not going to pay a ticket. I'm not giving them a darn thing. When I tell you that everybody in this here country can be as if they're living in heaven, can be clothed, can be fed, could have health care, can have education, every last one of them, and the nation turns around and laughs at me and think that I'm going to put away this philosophy of life and walk according to the dictates of what they're doing, I know the devil got them, because that ain't happening. So I say to the courts, I say to the state of America, as far as I'm concerned, you are a representation of Satan. You were made by God, but you are a representation of Satan. And I reject you, this nation, on those principles alone. Oh, I will treat you fair. I would do for you as I would want you to do for me. But I'm not going to let you run over me. Not, and I get up and walk. You can run over me and keep me down, but not me getting up walking. Because if you run over me and I get up, you're going to run over me again. Because I am not following the dictates of Lord Satan. So having said that, I think I'll leave it there. Maybe you get something, maybe you won't. I just wanted to share it with you. Until next time, Eddie Marcus saying bye-bye.